So, walking bass lines. Here's a question. Why should you be learning how to play them even if you hate jazz or blues? Well, you know all those cool Motown bass lines that you hear by guys like Jamerson, and those cool funky chromatic lines that you hear by guys like Jaco Pastorius? Well, that is all based on the same principles as walking bass. And you know how you've learned some arpeggios and scales, but you've got no idea how to use them in your bass lines? Well, walking bass lines are the perfect example of how all that can come together in creating a groove. So today I'm going to give you two simple walking bass examples that you can learn, and then we're going to see how the same lines can be used in a funk groove by just changing up the rhythm a little. So here's the first basic line played over a simple one-chord vamp. So that's a very, very basic walking bass line. It works over a single chord of C7, but it's short and easy to learn and has all the hallmarks of a longer, more sophisticated walk, both melodically and rhythmically. It's successive quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It outlines the chord and has direction. So let's just work through those notes in there. Remember, this is all quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. We start on a C, third fret of the A string, then we drop down to the open E, then we have F, F sharp, G. So first, second, and third frets on the E string. Very simple. And then we just move up onto the A string, play the same thing. Open A string, B flat, B, C. So open, 1, 2, 3 in terms of the frets. In terms of the technique, really straightforward. You can start with that first finger, index finger for that C, and then just for this, right up through the frets, just first finger, second finger, and fourth finger. So when you play a walking line, be sure to play each note with full duration. So we don't want this. No staccato notes or anything like that. You want full held note duration. Each note leads into the next. No gaps. And for a nice bassy deep tone like an upright, you want to play closer to the neck. So you can either play over the neck pickup or closer to the neck. If you're back here by the bridge, it's going to be a little bit too defined and middly. Down here, got more of that upright vibe. So this line works over a basic C7 chord. So the notes of a C7 chord are C, E, G, and B flat. That would be the arpeggio. So there I've just played third fret on the A string, second and fifth fret on the D string, and then that third fret on the G string. That's your basic C7 arpeggio, C, E, G, and B flat. So when we play this line, we've got the C, that's the root note, then we drop down to the E, that's the third, then we come up through F, F sharp leading into the G. The G's another chord tone, so there we've got a bit of scalar and chromatic movement, just bridging the gap between the E and the G. And then we come up to the A and the B flat, so we've got that passing note of the A leading into the B flat, and then a chromatic passing note between the B flat and the C. Now, I know many of you will be thinking, what the hell is he talking about? What is all this theory garbage? Well, like I said, we use chord tones to outline a chord progression, but we also work around those chord tones with scales and chromatic notes. We combine all of this to develop a vocabulary of lines. You start out with the most basic of lines over a certain chord or chord change, and then you gradually build up your vocabulary and harmony knowledge over time. Before you know it, you're improvising awesome walking bass lines over the entire fretboard through any chord progression on the fly. So check out Simple Steps to Walking Bass over at TalkingBass for a complete course on walking from absolute beginner to advanced improvising pro level. There's a link in the description below, and use the coupon code FUNKYWALKING for a 30% discount. So now let's have a look at a funky bass line that makes use of the same notes but with a different rhythm. So let's look at what we have here. So it's the same notes, but we've simply changed the rhythm. So I'm starting on that C again. So I've got a little ghost note in there as well. So we've got C, ghost note, then 2 more hits on the C. So 16th notes here. Then dropping down to that open E again. Then a ghost note again leading into the F. Then just that F sharp leading into the G. So instead of, we've got, and then we've got the same rhythm there. G, A, B flat, B. So with the walking line, but with the funky line. So you'll notice here that I'm picking closer to the bridge for that more tight, articulate sound. And you'll be able to find the transcription for this and the track over there at the TalkingBass website. So just click that link in the description below. You'll be able to work through the tab and sheet music there and then try playing along to the track. So just to hear that very slowly again, we have... So that bass line, again, outlines the chord tones. So we're outlining the harmony of that C7 chord, and we're making use of scalar and chromatic movement to create a smooth, constantly moving line with direction, tension, and release. Next, let's look at another walking line. This line works over a D minor 7, G7, C major 7 progression, which is a 2-5-1 in C. So, like I said, this chord progression is D minor 7, G7, C major 7. C major 7 for 2 bars there. For the line, we start on the D and we have D, E, F, F sharp, G. So, 5th fret A string, then 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th frets on the D string. Then we come down, G, F, D, D flat, C. So, 5th fret and 3rd fret on the D string, then 5th, 4th and 3rd frets on the A string. So that's what we play over the G7. So for the D minor 7, leading up into the G7, then we land on the C major 7. Then for the C major line, we have leading us back up into the D. So C, open E, G, B, so this is just an outline of the arpeggio. 3rd fret A string, open E string, 3rd fret E string, 2nd fret on the A string, back into the C. And then B, C, C sharp, D. So this is a little line just moving up into the D. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th frets on the A string. Simple. So in learning that line, you can segment it into its individual chords. You know, just to get that down, then, and then, and before putting it all together. You want to see each chord as a separate line there. And it's not just that you're playing a line over a chord, you're actually making a line from one chord to another. You should always be thinking of 2 chords whenever you're making a line like this. It's not D minor 7, it's D minor 7 to G7. We're starting at the D and we're ending on the G. We're making a little journey. D to G. Always targeting. So putting all that together very slowly. Again, pay attention to the position of the picking hand. So I'm closer to the neck, and also the note duration. Each note leading into the other. We don't want gaps. That won't work, whereas this. grooves way better. So in terms of analysing that line, we're outlining the chord tones again for the D minor 7, D and F. There's the arpeggio, we're just playing the root and the third there. We're joining it up with the scale notes. So passing note between the two, chromatic passing note up into the G. Then when we come down through the G, again we're coming down through the chord tones, G and F and D, all chord tones of G7, but with the chromatic passing note leading us into the C. It works because we're outlining the progression and that chromatic passing note is not on a strong beat. It then releases the tension on the root note of the next chord. And then for the C, we're really outlining the major 7 there. C, root note, E, 3rd, G, 5th, B, major 7, so it's all chord tones. And then we just have this line to lead up into the D, just using the 7th root chromatic passing note or chromatic approach into the D. So again, we're looking at the chord that we're on and where we're going. So now let's see what we can do if we funkifies that one. So again, we've just taken that walking line and we've funked it up. So we've got the D there, we're just repeating it. And instead of just playing straight up, we've played the D to the E and back. And then just played the F, F sharp, G as normal. So we've got that nice, cool, funky 16th note rhythm. As opposed to... But the notes are all the same. We're just using that melodic line to get from D up to G. Then again, coming down from the G down to the C, we're just mixing it up. Twice on that G there. Ghost note. And then just coming down the line in 8th notes. Down to the C. Then we've just got 2 hits on the C. And then a gap for a few beats. And then we come up. Coming back up through that C major 7 again, E, G, B, just as we did in the walking line. But we have. And then for the final bar, just placing that run back up into the D again as 8th notes with a ghost note. So, like I said, check out the Simple Steps to Walking Bass course for a complete guide from beginner to advanced. There's a link in the description below and use the code FUNKYWALKING for a 30% discount. Then check out this video if you want a simple hack for getting on your feet with creating walking bass lines. It won't turn you into Ray Brown or Ron Carter, but it will allow you to at least create a basic line with ease. So, see you next week.